It's like if I'm upset, if I have these organic experiences in me, how are they treated? And just the idea that, well, they should be responded to gently and empathically. I mean, that's ideal, but there are times where they do need to be dismissed a bit or just not validated or gratified. Um, they need to be put in context. The world isn't going to just be empathic with us all the time. I'm gonna slip into like parenting a little bit here as an example.
Yes, please.
If a child is running towards the street, um, a parent doesn't pretend to be a therapist and sit there and say, "Well, what's it like as you're running towards the street? Let's get in touch with this." Um, in fact, what a parent does is they get loud and big and intense and scary. And why are they doing that? Well, their role is not to develop your identity in that moment. Their role is to provide safety and protection and to act as that alarm system and to make an impact. So I don't think this is as easy as sometimes we make it sound in the attachment world of that parenting is just about being in an empathic mirror of emotional experience. Being a parent is about being provisional first and foremost. And I think we're trying to talk about, well, what is the formation of a self and a healthy, flexible identity? How is a parent providing the the environment for that to happen? Then we get into the idea of what's being responded to and what's not being responded to. Sorry, very tangential. What are you getting from that?
So, you know, one of the things that comes up for me is this idea of a good enough
Yeah.
parent. We don't need to be perfect.
Hmm.
We don't need to be responsive 100% of the time in a purely empathetic way. There are moments for
Hmm.
discipline, there are moments for limits, there are moments for challenging the child towards
Hmm.
independence. And one of the
Hmm.
things, this might interest you. One of my conversations with
Hmm.
Mario Mikulincer. So we were talking about attachment parenting.
Hmm.
And one of the things that he said, which I found really interesting, was that most attachment parenting today, as you see it in a kind of social media and
Hmm.
popular
Yeah.
culture, is only focusing on the safe haven.
Yes. Yes.
It's not focusing on the secure base.
That's it.
So this kind of gentle parenting,
Yeah. That's it.
yeah. So tell me what you think about this and how a parent should think of if they want to parent with attachment in mind,
Hmm.
how they need to balance between these safe haven and secure base functions.
Yeah. Um, as a parent, I'll tell you, I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Like, yeah, I hate trying to play expert on parent. In fact, when I started my career, I was a child and family therapist, and I worked mostly with families and kids. And a lot of what I would do would be looking at what 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 does this kid need from parents and in their environment? What kind of softness and what kind of toughness? And we would borrowing from like strategic family therapy, it'd be like, what's the narrative in this system about the problem? Is it, hey, this kid is doing bad behavior? Or is it this kid is sick and struggling? And usually we'd have systems that were making errors one way or the other. Very rarely was it balanced. And we kind of need to correct a little bit. So another way to say it is, do we have a family system that is overemphasizing safe haven? Or doing it, a little too much secure base, which of course is insecure base,
I love
you
that.
know?
I love
Um,
that approach.
and so, but when I gotta say, and I'll come back to that, but once I had kids, I realized I was a total fraud and like, that doing that, that I really had no right to be giving advice on how to parent because it is extremely difficult. And what is extremely difficult is it is first and foremost, it is about regulating. How good are you at reading and regulating your own system? Because that's the thing you're going to be dealing with as your kid seeks to regulate their own and is looking at you to help them. And when you're bonded with a child, your system is connected to theirs. So when they're activated, you're active. So then, if that's the case and you're focused so much on safe haven, your attempt when they are going up is simply going to be to keep trying to bring them down. Um, if it's secure base, it's going to be essentially to ignore the cues and to try to just get them to self regulate. There's a sort of like laissez-faire parenting that you could slip into there. They've got to figure it out.
Right, right.
I, Here's what I've learned. I I gotta be careful about judging what is right and wrong in a given scenario. I think there are areas where we get into safety that now we're getting into places where we really do need to make judgments and be very clear about them. But optimally, a parent that is looking to provide a combination of softness and consistency and solidness, um, what I invite them to work on is often themselves and to get practice at. And sometimes it's with a therapist. Hopefully, it's with their partner as well. Parenting, when your partnership feels secure and you can do the co-regulation together, parenting is much easier because you have somebody that's helping you regulate, and then the child can feel that solidness. Um, I have had many couples, and I've experienced this too, where if you're not functioning very well as a team, it can actually be easier to not have the other parent there. And at least it's just me giving the messages, and we're not dealing with this laterally together. So I think I don't know how many people listening are listening for the parenting piece, and how many are listening for the adult attachment partnership piece. I think both are very fascinating.